What's up, y'all? What's up, YouTube? What's up, Xtreme Gainz family? I'm Chuck, and this is Xtreme Gainz. I am not a financial advisor. Nothing I say is or ever will be financial advice. Please do not take it as such. Today's Thursday, October 20th, 2022, and this is my Amc Gme and SPY Algo exposed daily update and preparation video for tomorrow and beyond. As always, I hope you all had a great day in the market today. More importantly, I hope you made some extreme gains for yourselves. I'm going to go over all my regulars, my snake algo method for all three tickers, and some macro comparatives. So with all of that said, let's dig in. I'm not going to go over any side-by-sides in this video. I just want to get through it, get it done, and get it out to y'all as soon as possible so I can kick back today. I had an absolute crazy day today. Myself, the Xtreme Gainz family kicked ass today. I hope y'all did too. It was a crazy bonkers day. The Brinks trucks are officially loaded, and we still have a day left in the week tomorrow. I am jacked up for tomorrow. I hope y'all are too. Moving on to my extreme gains for today from my scalp setups on the 7 tickers that I set up every single day. They provided 12 entries from trigger today, the highest ROI being 200%. I had 2 separate 200%ers. The next one down 120%. The next one down 90%. Next one down 80%. I had 3 separate 80% winners, and the next one down, I had 4 30s and 120 to round out that list for today. Super happy and grateful for those as always. Like I said, the Xtreme Gainz Premium Discord family killed it today. Congrats to all of you, and I hope all of you in our extended family out here in YouTube land were able to do something similar and make some extreme gains for yourselves. Moving on to the charts. Currently on your screen is AMC 5-minute on your left, SPY 5-minute on your right with my micro intraday snake from my snake algo method on both of them in blue. The projected price action for both tickers today and the subsequent fulfillment of both of them as you see it. Absolutely dead on from start to finish. Market open, market close, and everything in between was absolutely dead on from both of them today. Another kick-ass day from the micro intraday snakes as part of my snake algo method. Real quick as well, I went ahead and tweeted a screenshot replay of these from today on Twitter. The entire fulfillment of them from start to finish. Go check that out on Twitter. It's pretty cool to see. And while you're there, leave some love on the tweet. Moving on to the intra-week snakes and the macro comparatives. Currently on your screen is AMC. AMC finished the day today, regular trading hours, up 3.93%, currently down 0.31% in after hours, trading at 633. The current intra-week snakes are what you see on your screen, and you can see that they have continued to fulfill well. The day prior to has continued to fulfill candle for candle. As you see it, the red one, you can see the continued fulfillment there as it was placed and what the projection would be from it moving forward into tomorrow and beyond if price action were to continue to fulfill it. This is the day of divergence, and for the time being, I am going to leave it on here. We also had initial fulfillment out of it, and then we've diverged from it here briefly. I do think it's still in range, though, just like I said when it was up here, for a potential convergence back downside with it. I do think, that it's still in range here to potentially do the exact same thing. So I'm going to leave it there. You can see what that would look like if it were to do that, and then the continuation of fulfillment as a projection moving forward if price action were to fulfill it in that manner. Then I also talked to you briefly about viewing this in its mirrored position after confirmed upside movement to potentially identify the nuanced movements moving forward throughout this continued fulfillment if it were to in fact continue to fulfill it. So you can see what that would look like moving forward as well if it were to be a little bit nuanced away from the candle for candle projection and most recent fulfillment of the day prior to. So that is everything right now that I am looking at from the intra-week snakes on AMC moving into specifically tomorrow and potentially beyond. Up next are the macro comparatives that I'm looking at for AMC. In the update and prep videos, I showed you 3 different things. I showed you 2 what you see right here on your screen, separate potential new macro comparatives that I am looking at and just tracking right now to see if I can get consistent consecutive fulfillment. I do have integrity of fulfillment previously here, as you see there, and that was the overlapped portion of it since I laid them on there and placed them. I have continued to get fulfillment out of both of them here. As you see, they both were projecting this move back up to around the neckline, and then both project a rejection back downside. Obviously, if price action were to continue upside out of here, it would either be a mirrored fulfillment of this only if it were to come back downside, or continue to fulfill it in a mirrored fulfillment as you see it there moving forward. Outside of that, the straight up position of both of them is what you are currently, looking at on your screen, and you can see the continued fulfillment of it, and you can see what the projection would be from them moving forward into tomorrow and beyond if price action were to continue to fulfill them. Then the other thing that I looked at with you was the OG macro comparative, the macro double from prior to the January 2021 run-up that I have been going over, and I put it to rest a little while ago, kept it behind the curtain, just brought it back out for whatever reason, threw it on Twitter, talked about it here in the live stream and stuff. So anyways, here it is again. We'll look at that. I talked about this being a macro projected suggested path. That's always the intention for me when it comes to the macro comparatives. It has consistently fulfilled this thing from way back when I originally started talking about this back late in last year, over a year ago, or right around a year ago now. We have consistently fulfilled that projected suggested path as it was projecting. I talked about and had went over a potential scenario with this, that it could see anywhere between a $2.50 and $5 bottom according to this macro comparative, only based on that and the previous macro fractal that it fulfilled in that manner, and the level in which the placement of this initially when it was placed was projecting out forward here in the future. And now here we are, and you can see where price action is. I looked at this in two potential positions right now currently, one of which is the bottom in, assuming that that bottom has been in, and you can see that we have continued to fulfill, and what that projection would be moving forward if it were to continue to fulfill it. The second one is pulling this down here as if that check up and rejection off of the neckline for then the continuation to downside for the lower bottom fulfillment were to happen. And I think both positions have validity, and you can see likewise with this one the continued fulfillment of it and what the projection would be from it moving forward if price action were to continue to fulfill it. That's everything that I am looking at with AMC. Up next is GME. GME finished the day today down 0.53% in regular trading hours, currently down an additional 0.08% in after hours, trading at 24.39. The current intra-week snakes are on your screen. Blue is the day of divergence. Red is the day prior to divergence from the previous intra-week snake that projected and fulfilled for over 8 weeks. I think we had just gotten into the 9th week when we got the completion of fulfillment of that previous intra-week snake. You can see we have continued to fulfill the current intra-week snakes on GME in their current position. The blue is the day of, and it has been the most accurate thus far. The red is the day prior to. It likewise has been accurate, but it's been jumping back and forth between straight up fulfillment and mirrored fulfillment. So it is currently in its straight up position. The mirrored position of this gives essentially a candle for candle fulfillment throughout the price action, just as the day of divergence does. So I don't need them both projecting that exact price action. I want to see that diverting point between straight up and mirrored. So that's why I have it in that position. You can see the continued fulfillment of it and what the projection may be or may look like moving forward into tomorrow and beyond if price action were to continue to fulfill them in this position. The day prior to divergence in its mirrored position looks like this right there. And you can see where price action is now mirrored from that as if it was candle for candle, where we're at now, what the projection is from it in that mirrored position moving forward into tomorrow and beyond as well. So that is everything that I am looking at with GME. I'm also looking at a macro comparative I will present that to you guys and gals probably in the Sunday weekly update and prep. I wanted to get this week of fulfillment under my belt to use that data for its placement, because there are a couple different placements that I am looking at that I think have validity right now. So I need some sort of continued confirmation of fulfillment before I bring it out here and show it publicly. So right now, this is everything that I am looking at with GME moving forward into tomorrow and beyond. Last but not least is SPY. SPY finished the day today, regular trading hours, down 0.84%, currently up 0.11% in after hours, trading at 365.80. The current intra-week snakes are what you see on your screen. Blue is the day of divergence. Red is the day prior to. Blue, the day of, started out fulfilling candle for candle from its original placement or its initial placement, and then we diverted to the downside here as you see it. Then we had mirrored this fulfillment as it was projecting upside in a downside manner, with the possibility of a potential convergence back with it to the upside for continued fulfillment. It does not look like that's happening at the moment. However, I do think it's still in range. You can see what the upside projection is if price action were to converge back with it, and how that would have to fulfill if it were to do so. If not, that may be invalidated moving forward. However, the day prior to intra-week snake, this snake started out in its straight up position, and it started out fulfilling all of this price action in this double bottom, candle for candle, essentially as you see it there. When we caught support off the critical level of support that I had talked about and ran back upside, mirroring this straight down breach of that to the upside, it justified this to be placed in the mirrored position and viewed in that position. In that position, since that divergence and that mirroring, it has continued its candle for candle fulfillment. And likewise, today was no different. You can see the continued fulfillment of it and what the projection is from it moving forward into tomorrow and beyond if price action were to continue to fulfill it. Then the macro comparative from the 08-09 correction and crash in its most recent position that we have been tracking and talking about in the update and prep videos. Put it right here. This is the what I would call the dead cat bounce, and then off of the cliff here. This would be the last downfall to the eventual bottom if it were to continue to fulfill out into that point, and then obviously the continued fulfillment of that downside. The most recent position of it has been right here. You can see the consistent and continuous fulfillment of it throughout, where we are at within that continued fulfillment here this week and today once again, and what the projection is from it moving forward into tomorrow and beyond if price action were to continue to fulfill it. That is everything from a macro comparative and from an intra-week snake perspective. I want to go backwards now and give you some levels that I am looking at from a technical perspective moving into specifically tomorrow and beyond. On SPY, I'm looking for an initial 373.50 breach back to the upside for a potential continuation to upside movement to this upper conservative neckline of this macro double bottom at 377.90. Then if price action were to start heading back downside, obviously I'm looking for it to fill this empty space back down to that critical level of support at 356.07, and then obviously that breach of that I have already mapped out here for a potential beeline back to the macro reverse third, as you see it here on my screen at 343. So those are the levels that I am going to be looking at for SPY. For GME, the levels that I am currently looking at, obviously the macro ascending level of support that we already breached right here around that 24.80 price level, and we are now underneath it, which is never a good sign. I would like to see this retake that position as soon as possible for a bull case. However, if it were to fulfill in a confirmation and continuation fulfillment, confirming that level change underneath it, turn that support into resistance, then the expectation is for a continuation to downside push off of that resistance. If it can retake that macro ascending level of support to the upside, the next level of resistance that I'll be looking at for a continuation upside will be around that 25.25 level. And then on AMC, the neckline, the framework for this potential W build out. The same thing that happened right up above it on this previous step where it started building out a double and it failed at critical level of support. The same thing is happening here. We have one half of the W in, potentially the other half starting here. It does display an ascending level of support within that interior. However, that is not what I am looking at. I could look at that more on a micro basis for a potential indication, but no confirmation. So the indication level would be around the $6 level. So a breach of $6 to the downside, I think would bring this right back down to the 563 critical level of support. However, if it were to continue upside, I'm looking at that macro neckline at 681 or 680 to keep it simple for a potential breach of that and a confirmation of continued upside movement from that point on. So my friends, my family, that is everything in a nutshell that I am looking at with AMC, GME, and SPY moving into specifically tomorrow and beyond. If you made it to the end of the video, thank you all very, very much. I greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to smash the like button on your way out. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure to do that as well. Go check those tweets out on Twitter. You'll love them. It's an awesome thing to watch those fulfilled dead on today from start to finish. I will get an update and prep video out on Sunday afternoon for the weekly update and prep video. Good luck in the market tomorrow. Make some extreme gains for yourselves. Have a great weekend. I'll talk to y'all on Sunday. Take care. Later.